Good morning, Saturday, August 30th, 2025. I'm Larissa. My fat bitch diary. Time's come. Drink from skulls. Yep. Here we are. Here we are. Here we are drinking from skulls. So yesterday I got a lot of work done. I did. Working on a little project. Working on a little, it's work, but it's a work project, but it's also personal. Yeah. Looking forward to being done. Hoping I can finish it up today. I'm gonna try to. Yeah. I'm gonna try to. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be in the magazine. So I'm not talking about it. It's gonna be in the magazine. Yeah. In the November issue. And I got the October issue. It's off to print and it's been printed and it has dropped. It's been shipped. So it'll be here soon and it'll be released on September 15th. Yeah. Yeah. The October issue. It's a pretty good one. Yeah. It's all kinds of creepy. It is. There's this goober on my face. Like goober on my face. Oh, I have heat bonnet on for a conditioning treatment. Yeah. Yeah. So was all this drama saying Donald Trump is sick and people speculating he's dying. Am I supposed to be sad? I don't care. I mean, I think Vance is just as big of an asshole, if not bigger. Right? And this is why he used to be a Donald Trump criticizer, and then he kissed his ass to be his running mate. And the guy has fat shamed his toddler daughter in public. Yeah, so, excuse me if I'm not super excited at the thought of having to get to know this version of evil, right? Sorry, not sorry. They're all jerks. They're all jerks. Yeah. Yeah. All kinds of crazy shit going on over there in Europe. Oh my God. Oh my God. Finally, Slovakia has stepped up. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Wonder what changed Slovakia's mind. I wonder. What was it? Anyway. Oh, yesterday, and I was dumb. I was working. I was listening to my lady jams, my favorite lady jams. And Omar and I were talking about music last night, and um, talking about what you like to listen to when you work or whatever. It's like if I'm writing or doing something technical like that, I like to listen to specifically Stephen Halpern music. I don't like listening to classical music at all when it's recorded. I do enjoy classical music live, but I do not enjoy it recorded. There's too much nuance of each individual instrument that is lost in recording. That it's just not the same. It's not the same thing, right? I like to listen to abstract and avant-garde jazz. Um, I also I get distracted by music with lyrics, even music that is acoustic but is popularly known with lyrics. I find distracting when I'm doing certain things. Yeah, I like listening to white noise, like thunderstorms, an ocean when I'm trying to sleep. He likes to listen to that while he works. That would put me to sleep. Yeah. Mm. But then some tasks when I'm doing them, I like to listen to music that I like, that I enjoy and like to sing along to. Yesterday I was listening to my lady jams, my lady jams. I have a lot of problem with music that's like 2000, from the 2000s on. And we were talking about this last night. And for me, it comes down to the negative repercussions of the Music Genome Project. And I think that, people just don't understand that. And I can't stand music on the radio. The only music that I really like to listen to on the radio is when oldies come on, things from pre 2000s come on, and it's a song that I like, right? Like, um, but the music from the 2000s on, I really have a problem with, because it's when really start to see the impact of the software programs that were developed using the data and research from the Music Genome Project. So the Music Genome Project, Pandora Radio, and you know when it was released to the public, right, as a radio station, it was actually public research that they were doing. And when you signed up for it, originally it was free, right? And then you had to pay for it, right? Then there was a membership level, but originally it was free, and you had to sign this contract saying that you understood that they were doing psychological research on you based on your decisions, and that you were part of this research. Your data was going to be part of this research project. Yeah, and it was funded. It had funding from U.S. military. They were specifically studying the effects of tones and tonal patterns on on psychology, on mass control, right? For use in war and in prison systems and in hospitals. And you can do a lot of manipulation of the human psyche and of the body through tone. Um, and lots of people have known this. This used to be kind of like a new age woo woo thing, right? Stephen Halpern, right? And part of the reason I like Stephen Halpern as a composer is because, I mean, his music, he uses all electronic stuff, which I don't generally like, but that's his music is medicine, right? And his compositions are all very thoughtful and balanced. So all of his albums um, cycle through each of the chakra centers, the tonal qualities that are associated with each of the chakra centers. And so when he's done, when you listen to his compositions, you're not left with imbalance, right? You're left with a tonal balance. And that's part of why I find them so conducive to my Reiki work, and then just for listening to when I'm doing complex, difficult tasks. So there's also new age music that is largely like, you can get, oh, heart-centered music. Okay, so that's all that those when it says something like that, it's they're using tonal patterns that are from the heart chakra, right? And so it has some mental, emotional, and physical um attributes, right? Well, there's like others, that they're fun to listen to, but that you use for certain things. You say, "Oh, that music's sexy." Well, what makes that music sexy? Even if it doesn't have lyrics where they're not saying, "Oh, you make my pussy juicy" and all that shit. Like, I don't necessarily find that stuff sexy anyway. I find it kind of like juvenile and vulgar. It can be funny, but not necessarily sexy. But when you say you hear a sound, um, and that's sexy, what does that mean? Well, it means it is appealing to your sacral plexus chakra, right? The chakra center that is below or above the root chakra. It's the second chakra. And that those tonal qualities have to do, it's a low, but it's not the lowest, right? Yeah. And so a lot of music, it kind of exploits that. And um, stuff that they're putting out now um, exploits this data and this research, and it has left, like, sex sells. And so it's why you listen to like all this shit that's coming out with their call what they call R&B now, I guess. I don't know, all these infantile women talking about their pussy, and men talking about what they're going to do to your pussy or whatever. And it's, let me get it wet for you and all this shit. It's just like, it's gratuitous and unnecessary and lewd and debasing. And you wonder why, like, kids are, like, young kids. I mean, the hypersexualization of children, right, with this music that is being presented on the radio. Like, stuff like that has always has always existed. Music like that has always existed, but it wasn't like in the forefront. It wasn't. And the same thing, like, even with other stuff, like, you can manipulate people's buying habits, you can manipulate people's aggression through tonal qualities. And that's what the Music Genome Project was um, was studying, right? And so it kind of has taken away the organic the organic process, and the natural process of writing music. And so you have these big companies, right, putting together mediocre lyrics and stuff for trite garbage that is in, it's like junk food. It's like junk food, right? Like, they're designing music that that feeds that kind of addiction, or that instant, that pleasure center. It's like the hit that you get from getting likes, and why people get, addicted to social media and shit like that. It's the same. It's all in that same thing. So it's like, I find pop music today even more repugnant than ever, right? It's just gross. It's just gross, no matter what it is. So anyway, I was listening to my Lady Jams list yesterday, and Miss Barbara Streisand came on. Oh my God. I love Barbara Streisand. I do. Miss Streisand. Oh, I love you. I do. I do. Yeah, I have a few of her songs on my Lady Jams list. Yesterday, People, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. We're like children needing other children, yet letting our grown-up pride hide all the need inside, acting more like children than children. Oh, it's such a good song. It's such a good song. And it's like, I challenge you to find anything by any of these pop princess whores that are out there, right? Any of them. Any pop princess whores, because it's what all of them are. And find anything that even compares in integrity to something like music by Miss Streisand, or the music that was sung by Miss Ronstadt, or oh, who else? Anita Baker, or who else? Shit, even Courtney Love, Hole in the 90s, like, her music was innovative. It was. It really, really was, and it was honest and raw. And people get down on her, but she was slash is, I don't know what she's doing with herself now, but I found a lot of value in her music in the 90s. I did. My nose is itching. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so I was listening and singing along with Miss Streisand yesterday. My video camera, like, sometimes I feel like there's something external that is putting a filter on my camera. My nose doesn't look like my nose today to me. No. It looks like there's some sort of filter on this image. And I get that sometimes. Sometimes when I upload my photos to when I upload photos to my Google Photos, like they'll come back and they look like they've been altered. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, Miss Barbara Streisand. Natalie Merchant. Oh my God. There's nobody today that even nothing compares to you. I mean, that was Prince's song that Sinead O'Connor made famous, but Natalie Merchant? Yeah. Color of the sky as far as I can see is stone gray. I lift my head from the pillow and then fall again. Yeah, I just, her music was so good. Chrissy Hine, there again, like, where are these type of musicians now? They don't exist. They don't exist. I mean, between the autotune and having like 50 people working on a single song, that it's even like questionable whether or not it's a song. I can't even call it music. It's propaganda. It is shitty propaganda. And then like the age lying that goes on. Like, oh my God. When I did the launch showcase thing, right? They wanted me to lie about my age. They wanted me to say that I was like 10 years younger than what I was. Right? I got reprimanded because like I was 36 when I did that. I think 35, 36 when I did that. It's this thing where you go pay to perform for industry producers and casting people, right? And there are kids up through adults, right? But the thing is, if you're an adult, you got to look young, kind of thing, right? And they wanted me to say I was 10 years younger than what I was when I was talking to people. They knew how old I was. And so there was this one evening. Oh, it was a total scam. It was a total scam. It was totally a scam. And the only thing that came out of it for me was I got a bunch of solicitations for pornography. And I got an offer to do what they call do the art for Katy Perry. And I said no to that too. Thank you very much. And then one of the producers wanted me, he didn't come right out and say, he wanted sexual favor, but that was the implication. Yeah. Marshall Block. Yeah. Anyway, at the event, there was one night before going to bed, I was out on a balcony at the hotel. It was a hotel in Chicago. And I was having a cigarette. And one of the mothers of one of the kids that was there, 'cause some of them were young, 13, 14, 15 years old, right? She comes out. She's like, "What are you doing smoking out here?" And I looked at her. I said, "How old are you?" She goes, "I'm 36. I said, "I am too." And she's like, "What?" And like she got all upset. I said, "Yeah." I said, "A lot of these people here are same age as you, bitch." She was like, "Oh." She's like, "Well, why? What are you hoping?" I said, "I'm hoping to get some work." And I told her a little bit about stuff that I had done and all the volunteer work and things. And because she was coming out to smoke too. And so we were smoking together and she was like, "Oh, well, I really hope that you have some success." She's just like, "Sounds like you deserve to have some success in your life. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't have really high hopes at this point. And then the next day, when it was like the final thing and you get a critique at the end, I was reamed for that. They're like, "How dare you? Why would you do that? Why would you tell your age, your real age?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't I tell my real age?" And so you have to question, they say these 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 girls that are up on stage, that are shaking around for your prepubescent girl, right? As her idol, saying that she's 35 or younger, right? How old are they really? How old are they really? Right? At that age, I'd already been married for 15 years. Yeah. And so the industry, I was told by one guy after I turned down doing the art for Katy Perry, he's like, I'm going to tell you this because I like you and you seem to not understand this already. And I said, what? And he said, well, he said, this is the way it works. He says, if he says, he said, you have genuine talent. And he said, if you had family support, you would have already had a career. He said, but you have genuine talent and you are a threat to people like Miss Perry and others, right? But he used her specifically because he was offering me to do the shadow work, to do the actual artwork that they then exploit, which I did have a lot of work exploited by industry after that. Um, he said, he says, you have to understand. He's like, this is dangerous business. If they feel like if they feel like you are a threat to their product and their fan base, he says, they kill people. He says, they'll hurt you. They'll maim you. Yeah. And I emailed him not too long ago. I guess it was like 6 months ago. No, it was more than that. It was when I was writing when I published the article about all the stolen work I have, all the work of mine that's been stolen. I emailed him with, I'm still alive. And he was like, oh. And he replied to me. I was like, hey, how are you? And he was like, oh. He's like, surprised to hear from you. I'm like, yeah, I'm still alive. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't hear anything back from him. It was Randy. He was a producer in Detroit. Yeah. Anyway, listening to music, talking about music. As a product, I really hate musicians. I do. Like, everybody always expected me to work and perform for free, but I had to pay other people, right? And, guys that would work with me just on an artist to artist basis, after a while, when they figured out that I wasn't going to mess around with them, then they were no longer available. Yeah. 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 Music is a trashy, trashy business. Yeah. And so that's why I really question, like, particularly these days, anyone who is a parent who either buys tickets for their kids or lets their kids buy tickets, right? To go to these crazy, I mean, because they're insanely expensive tickets. When I was going to shows in the 90s, like the most expensive ticket I ever bought was $75 plus tax. And that was for Lollapalooza, right? Brody, go down with Daddy. Daddy's calling you, buddy. Brody, are you dead? Go. Yeah. It's part of why I really loved punk shows, right? Because punk shows were like $10 or and under. And if it was Fugazi, it was a $5 show, right? you know, and they were fun and they were energetic. Well, some of the punk shows got a little dangerous. I was threatened a few times. When the skinheads, when the neo-Nazis showed up, they were shitty and they always made a beeline right for me. That was for damn sure. But there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell I'd be paying $500 to go see some bitch lying about her age in her panties singing about all her ex-boyfriends. No way. There's no way. And there's certainly no way I would pay for that for my daughter to go see. Who would I pay for my daughter to go see? Jill Scott, maybe, depending on where the show was. Yeah. But there again, it's like she's not mainstream. And isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame that somebody like Jill Scott isn't mainstream? Why don't I turn on the radio and hear Jill Scott? Like every now and then I hear Mary J. Blige, but it's always the same damn song. Right? I'm so disgusted by all of it. By all of it. Trashy little whores. That's like that's what the music industry is now. That's the product. That's all it is. Yeah. Being manipulated by the research from the Music Genome Project. That's why everything sounds the same. Yeah. And everybody wants to eat it up because it's junk food. And they don't even know it. Fucks with your brain. Mm. Yeah. Try listening to some Stephen Halpern next time you're like doing something that's like intense, working on something, right? You need to focus. Try it. Try listening to some Stephen Halpern. Good old classic Stephen Halpern. Chakra Sweet. It's the best album to listen to. It is. I love listening to that when I'm writing. Mm-hmm. Anyway. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. We're like children needing other children, yet letting our grown-up pride hide other need inside, acting more like children than children. Lovers are very special people. They're the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, a feeling deep in your soul says you were half, now you're whole. No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people. People who need people. Anyway, thank you, Miss Streisand, for your music.